Hello artists, and welcome once again to the epic journey. We're on day 121. I'm Dalene FM, and today we're going to be discussing drawing with chalk pastels. Chalk pastels is one of those fun mediums to work with, although if one doesn't like one's hands being very dry with chalk, then you may not enjoy the feeling of the chalk on your hands. But I found it an incredibly fun medium to work with, although I also found it quite challenging because there's a reason people use chalk pastels for things like landscapes and seascapes and clouds in the sky and that type of thing, because chalk pastels is incredibly difficult to get high detail with. Now, of course, when I say this, I'm talking about specifically the sticks of chalk. If you are using pastel pencils, where you've got the pencil lead is actually a piece of pastel, and you've got the pencil to hold, and you can sharpen it to a nice sharp point, then of course you can get great detail with those. But the actual sticks of pastels are quite difficult to get high detail with. Chalk pastels really come into their own with big areas of blended color, and there's very little to beat the beautiful smooth effects that you can get with chalk pastels. One can put light colors on top of dark and mix them together on your page, blend them with your finger and get a lovely graduation from light to dark. And of course you can do it the other way around as well, when you can put your dark colors on top of your light. But either way, pastels are relatively opaque. The blacks or the dark colors are really dense and opaque, so a little bit of chalk pastel goes a long way. And even the lighter colors, and specifically the whites, are really dense, so they can cover a dark color underneath them quite well. However, they do tend to lighten a little bit when you spray them with fixative. The whites specifically will lighten a little bit when sprayed with fixative, so you may have to go back and do a couple of passes on the white to get a really crisp white. But because of their opacity, their really strong, dense opacity, you can cover color underneath. Now you'll notice on this drawing I started with a piece of greenish paper, and you can see how nicely the white is really blocking out the green paper underneath, and you can come back with white and put it over a color, and it will be nice and crisp and white as well, provided of course that once you've fixed it you reiterate those whites and make them really bright again. Now what I'm doing with this drawing is I've started off with just a basic, very similar to an underpainting that one would do on an oil painting or an acrylic painting. I've started off with just basic color blocking, and because of the opacity of pastels I can come back and start putting in a little bit more detail. And what's nice about pastel as well is that you can work with two colors, and that's what I was doing in some parts of the really dark leaves. I was working with the black and the darkest of the greens together. So I would put some black on, and then I'd come back with the green pastel and draw over it. So it's sort of the two colors together blend in to make a slightly darker or quite a lot darker green. The chalk pastel stick lends itself really well to making good marks. So pastel can be a really nice medium for doing sort of contemporary style work, particularly large scale contemporary portraiture. I say large scale because you need to be able to get in that you get detail. Like I said before, chalk pastels don't really lend themselves to getting great detail. So large scale work you can get the detail into large scale work, and then of course you can get these really lovely big marks that you can make with the chalk pastels, particularly if you're using a lighter color on top of a dark. Now with this particular drawing, when I had done all the color blocking, I came in and sprayed it with a fixative to really fix the basic layers. But that was actually the last time that I fixed it, until right at the end. So the mark making that you see happening, particularly with the leaves of the trees, are happening on top of pastel that's not necessarily fixed. Now if your pastel underneath is not fixed, then you'll see things happening like when I'm doing the texture on the bark of the trees, where the lighter colors are going onto the darker colors. There is a certain amount of blending that happens. If I had fixed that, however, then the blending would have been minimal, if any at all, and it would have blocked out a little bit easier. However, I wanted it to be a little bit more integrated, so I didn't fix the black on those trees before I started making the marks of the bark of the tree. You'll see that happening a little bit later on in the video. So to recap, artists, what I really like to get across to you about pastels is that they are awesome fun to work with. They are challenging, but with a bit of practice the results really are worth it, because the blending that you can get with it is absolutely beautiful. You can get a large degree of detail if you revert to pastel pencils for your detail. You can do your initial layers with the sticks and blending with your fingers, and then when it comes to the details you can revert to your pastel pencils. Another thing I'd like to mention is that it is often referred to as painting with pastels. The reason for that is because something that is covered from side to side, top to bottom, completely covered with pastel is referred to as a painting and not a drawing. I find it a little bit odd. I still refer to it as drawing because to me painting involves a brush. So artists, I hope you have great fun with pastel drawing. I'm going to do a couple more pastel drawings. I think that it's worth exploring a little bit further, particularly with chalk pastels and pencil pastels together in the same drawing. Thank you so much for joining me on day 121 of the Epic Journey when we're talking about pastel drawing, and I will see you tomorrow in day 122. In the meantime, please will you like and share this video, and if you're not following the Epic Journey on Facebook, if you're watching this video on other channels, please hop along to Facebook and look up Dalene FM Art and come and join us for an epic journey of art. Thank you so much for joining me once again, folks. See you tomorrow. Bye. That's what you want to do.